Oh boy. Well, you know the drill. Time for an issue of Weird, Fantastic, Astounding, Baffling Mysteries. We'll see how baffled we are. Looks like it's going to be more about supernatural stuff than mystery or anything. Come forward, man of the outer world. You shall learn the secrets of the goat people. Huh? I'm a little distracted because I can see through your dress. Your panties are blue. Wow. And your feet are on fire. Huh. That's odd. Oh, you caught him at a bad moment. He had to suddenly put a towel around his waist. One of the other two didn't. Bet you wish they did. All right, let's see what the deal is. Volcano of Vengeance. Oh, what the hell's going on here? Did we interrupt? I'm done with you. You cheated on me for the last time. Hey, who's that? What are you doing in my room? Stand still until I put the light on. You'd better not. Go back to sleep, senor. You did not really see anything. You were only dreaming. Return to slumber, senor. That should work. As field man for the North American Museum, Todd Sloan was used to strange sights and bizarre adventures. He had long ago ceased to be awed, shocked, or frightened by any of the fearsome events into which his exotic occupation sometimes led him. But then, one night, in a mountainside inn near the smoldering volcano Mount Pataxo, in a small Central American country, he was suddenly awakened by a feverishly restless sleep drenched with perspiration. The smothering stillness of the mountain night, the hypnotic tone of this nightmarish intruder for a moment made Todd Sloan incapable of movement when he finally leaped from the bed. It's one of the Mountain Pataxo goat men. Come back here. I want to talk to you. Why? Well, anyway, vanished. Well, one thing's certain. No human being could scale that sheer... He's obviously not human. Look at him, for God's sake. But 1,000-foot precipice to reach this window. Hey, that glow over the crater of Mount Pataxo. That volcano has been extinct for centuries. But tonight it looks like it's ready to erupt. Yep, looks like it pretty much already has. Well, whatever. Turning back into his room, still lightheaded, dizzy from his strange and sudden awakening, Todd found a slab of lava from the volcano. It was not here when I went to bed. The goat man must have left it. Wow, look at that. The sole purpose of Todd Sloan's trip to the Mount Pataxo country was to investigate reports of chunks of lava being found bearing the imprint of the figure of a mythical goat man, and, if possible, to secure a sample for the museum. For 3 tiresome weeks he had explored the area and found no sign of the report being true. Now, the night before he was returned to civilization, the object of his search was mysteriously brought to him. So there you go, job done. Now you can go home. But before Todd could complete his examination of the grotesquely figured slab left on his dresser, Pedro, the innkeeper. Yankee dog, now that you have learned the secret of Mount Pataxo, you shall surely die, and all of us in the village with you. What are you talking about? Hey, get away from that log of lava. That's valuable. There is still a chance that if I get the goat man's gravestone away from you, we'll be saved. Todd followed the hysterical innkeeper to the kitchen. There, it is destroyed. I have taken step number 1 to save the village from the fury of the goatmen. Gods! Oh, the goatmen, whatever. That precious chunk of imprinted lava pulverized. You superstitious idiot! Why did you do that? I awakened a while ago, burning with fever, and I knew that the goatmen of Mount Pataxo had been angered and that the great fires inside the mountain were starting to boil over. It is you who was responsible. Say, are you into this? No? Okay. See what you have done? The volcano erupts with the fiery fury of the goatmen. Liquid fire will roll down the mountain and destroy the village, unless they are appeased. Huh? Well, what do you know? That's, when one of the sacred, one of the sacred goatmen who live in the flaming depths of the volcano dies, his form is outlined on a gravestone of lava. If it falls into the hands of an unbeliever, the goatman's anger causes the fires to overflow the mountain. But if we can make a sacrifice to the volcano gods in time, our destruction by fire may be stopped. As he sank to the floor unconscious, Todd Sloan seemed to go floating off in a purple fog. The throb and pound of a million tom-toms filled his ears and swelled to a deafening roar of sound. Suddenly Todd awakened and found himself trussed and slung from a pole like a sacrificial animal. Whoa, my head! Must have been unconscious for some time. What are they doing with me? We're miles from the village. Where are you taking me, Pedro? You and your whole village will be in a mess if the U.S. consulate comes looking for me. No more so than if we are destroyed, boiled in molten lava to satisfy the rage of the goatmen. I guess you got a point there. We enter the cathedral cave of the goatmen. I hope you will be sacrificed in time to prevent the final burst of flame from Mount Pataxo. Deep inside the cave, as Pedro and his fanatical followers were about to hurl Todd Sloan as a human sacrifice into a pit of flame, "O goatmen, repay us for this human sacrifice by calming the flaming anger of Mount Pataxo." That figure of a woman in the flames, yet none of the others seem to hear her or see her. Am I going crazy? With the barbaric screams of the mountain men ringing in his ears, Todd Sloan was hurled into the fiery space. At the first blast of vicious heat, merciful blackness swept over him. Yay! Todd Sloan came swirling up out of the bloom of unconsciousness to find himself in an echoing underground chamber, glowing with a flame like light. The Earthman is alive, Queen Arnie.
Yes, for a moment I was afraid we hadn't saved him from the flame pits in time.
What? Where am I? How can I possibly be alive? Nobody could have lived through that roaring inferno.
Not without the help of the goat people. Here in the depths of the volcano, we can control the power of fire.
Who are you? You don't look like one of the goat people.
My name is Arnie, Queen of the Goat Men. After I dismiss my consorts.
Oh, is that how it is?
Yes, I'll tell you an intriguing story.
And a gesture from Queen Arnie, and a few words in an exotic tongue, the old goatmen moved from the room, walking without fear straight through a curtain of roaring flame. Doesn't the fire burn them? It seems impossible.
When you have lived here as long as I have, nothing seems impossible. I know who you are, Todd Sloan. I knew all about you from the moment you arrived in this wild country. Tonight I sent one of my subjects to bring you to the Goatman gravestone, for which you were searching, and to have him ask a favor of you in return. But my messenger became too frightened when you awakened suddenly, and didn't stop to give you this message. Once, hundreds of years ago, I lived in Pedro's village. I, too, was supposed to have offended the goatmen, caused the volcano to erupt, and was sacrificed in the same manner that you were tonight.
But you were saved?
Yes, the goatmen seemed entranced by me. Well, I'll bet, and made me their queen. During my reign, there have been other human sacrifices of hapless villagers over which I had no control. These must be stopped.
Then the villagers' belief about the goatmen's anger is only a superstition?
Of course. When the goatmen die and their form is impressed upon a slab of molten lava, it is a mere funeral rite. After it is done, no one really cares what happens to the gravestone. Come, I'll show you.
Hey, we're not going to try to walk through that wall of fire, are we? Queen Arnie laughed off Todd's fears as they neared the firewall. Suffocating heat blasted at them, yet miraculously, they were not burned.
Fire is the goat people's friend, and cannot hurt them. And temporarily you are one of us, and safe.
It's uncanny. Through the fire curtain, they entered a chamber filled with a strangely dizzying incense-like scent. Queen Arnie's voice lowered to an awed whisper.
This is the vault of the dead. All goatmen, when they die, are brought here, their bodies placed on pieces of molten lava, and while the impression is being made, they are reincarnated once again into mountain goats on the outside of the mountain. The superstitions of the nearby villagers and their sacrifices are all for nothing. That is why you must stop them, Todd Sloan.
But how? I mean, how could I possibly return to the outside world after this?
You shall see. Here is Jan the Wise, who died just a few minutes before you arrived. He was one of the oldest and most brilliant of my subjects. Some of the others used to tease him about his broken horn, but he was one of the really great goat men.
This can't be happening. At any moment, I'll awake from this strange dream.
Come, I'll show you a way of escape. You must make the villagers stop offering us human sacrifices. This is the secret exit to the outside world, used by the reincarnated forms of the goatmen. Follow it. Don't forget what I told you. Goodbye, Todd Sloan.
And as Todd entered the tunnel, he looked back, but Queen Arnie was gone. There was nothing back there but a wall of fire covering the opening through which he had crawled. After what seemed hours of burrowing through the eerie light of the tunnel, I smell fresh air, and there's a sign of light up ahead. At last, the tunnel brought me to the outside world, and any exit is also an entrance. I'll note where it is, and someday bring back an expedition to go into the mountain and explore those underground caverns. But as Todd wheeled around to find the tunnel exit, gone! There isn't any tunnel now. It was right here a moment ago. I haven't moved from the spot. Oh well, many hours later, staggering with exhaustion, Todd Sloan returned to the inn. Senor Sloan, but it can't be. I myself helped throw him into the fiery bowels of the volcano. No one could survive such a fate. It must be a ghost. That's me, all right, Pedro, alive and kicking, and with news for you. By some miracle, he was not burned to ashes in the volcanic flames. Listen closely to what I have to tell you. Pedro and the other odd villagers listened gape-mouthed as Todd reported all that had happened to him and gave them Queen Arnie's message. And now, if you don't mind, I'm exhausted. I'm going upstairs and sleep for about 40 years. It shall be as you and the Queen say, Senor Sloan. We are convinced that you speak the truth. There shall be no more sacrifices. Back upstairs in his room. Can't keep eyes open another second. Got to sleep. Sleep. Hours later. What? What's that noise? Something waking me. Hey, who's that? Come back here. Blast it. I've let him escape again. Or maybe he wasn't even really here at all. I must have been still half asleep, imagining things. But there must have been someone, something. This hoof print proves it, along with that turd. And Mount Patexo was quiet again, but still, that other could have happened. Really? That part of it must have been a dream. But As he turned from the window there by the dresser, he saw another one of the goatman's gravestones, just like the one Pedro destroyed. Queen Arnia sent me another one to take back to the museum. And on this grotesque chunk of solidified ash, clearly defined, was the figure of John the Wise, whom he had seen back in the fiery heart of the volcano. This proves that it all really happened. I was within the volcano. And yet, immediately Todd Sloan packed his bags, scared to death, including the goatman's gravestone, and left the inn to return home, wondering how he could possibly explain to the others the things that happened to him, and knowing that he never could really explain them. The end. Well, then, that means the volcano was on the brink of erupting, and yet his little visit solves it. They said that it was all superstition. They don't really have any say-so over the volcano, so it's still going to erupt, isn't it? The sacrifices won't do any good, but, well, whatever. He has a little keepsake he can bring home. No one's going to believe, so it's probably worthless, but, yeah, what are you going to do? Well, what do we have next week? The Phantom Snow Queen. All right, well, that'll be something, won't it? Well, we'll see next time on Mr. Nailsin's Sunday Comics.